What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Sports Bible Podcast. We are back after taking a week off. I hope you guys, if you live in the Northeast, are safe with the snow because we got – how much did you get, Rob? I got like 2 feet.
Yeah, like close to it, like 16 inches, something like that.
Yeah.
The Jersey Shore got hit pretty hard and compared to up north,
Yeah.
unexpected.
I was out Friday and I was out to dinner, and when we were coming home, it was starting to like come down really hard. And then I woke up on Saturday morning and I'm like, damn, I gotta go out and shovel all this. But thankfully we got a snowblower, so that was good. But besides that, I'm still here. A wall back there. It's gray. It's red over there. If you guys care, probably not. But I'm gonna play you guys the clip now of what happened, and so here it goes. I hope you guys can hear it.
5 million.
It smells weird in my spare room. What the hell? Why does it smell weird in here? My house on fire? Yo, imagine we got that on video. My house on fire. Yo, it's like smoky in here. Oh shit! Something's on fire. Yo, what the fuck?
What?
Yo, something actually went on fire.
What did?
A pillow.
Is it bad?
Nah, I'm fine.
Still in here, so it can't be that good.
Yo, I gotta.
Was it just burnt? Is the edge just burnt or something?
Yeah, there's a pill. Oh, I gotta open the door. Yo, all right. I gotta end this a little prematurely. Rob, I gotta fix this problem.
So for a little backstory, I don't know if I talked about this in the podcast like in detail, but me and Rob were doing the Twitter Spaces actually for the Nets Celtics game a couple weeks ago. Bulls. What did I say, Celtics? Oh, I saw your green shirt and just Celtics. Nets blew him out, I think. Yeah. Kevin Durant. I had Kevin Durant first basket, Vooch 10 rebounds. Just nothing.
Fantasy, yeah.
Yeah, it was a rough night. But I was in my spare room where I usually do my editing, my recording, my content, and all that stuff, and I turned the heat on a little bit, and I smelled like a weird smell. I'm like, why is it smoky in here? And then I turn around, I'm like, oh god, that's like where the pillows are, and I turn the pillow over, and it's like burnt. I'll get a picture actually for you guys. I'll blow it up for you guys too, like for if you guys can't see it. But let me try to find this picture now. Like I said, I'm gonna blow it up for you guys, so you guys don't have to worry about seeing it on my phone.
I mean,
Where is this picture?
It was definitely unexpected, and
Yeah,
I kind of get it.
Yeah, I love how I was like, imagine we got it on video that like my house is on fire and then the house almost went on fire. Here it is. All right, so if you can see it, guys, that's the pillow. There's like a hole. That's my driveway, by the way. So that black isn't the pillow. That's through the pillow. We went through 3 fire extinguishers. We had to put the pillow in a garbage pail with water and leave it there. Thank God it was cold out because they could kind of like cool it down. But staying out there in the cold at 2 a.m, not fun. But you know who else is hot right now? Your Boston Celtics. You were worried about a segue. I got you.
It feels good to say it finally, I guess.
I'm waiting for it.
I mean, every game is just a learning process, and I've been saying it for almost 2 months now, just one game at a time, and it's crazy how, what do we have, February 4th, and now it's the first time all season that they're 3 games over, 28-25, and Kirk Goldsberry at ESPN posted like where everyone ranks, like net rating wise, offense, defense. They got the number 1 defense right now, the last 15 games. They got like the 8th best offense. They've won 10 of 14. They've won 5 of their last 6. They're 5-1 since Marcus Smart came back, who, you know, he hears all the noise of him not being able to run a point guard. Obviously, Boston is still looking to make moves between now and next week as we see Dennis Schroeder's minutes drop. We see Al Horford noise with him. There's noise with Josh Richardson too, even though he went off last game in response. I would like them to keep him. He's a good team player for the bench, and he's on a good contract. Like I've said to you a million times, can cover multiple positions. But in Smart's last 6, he's got almost 7 assists, almost 12 points. For once, shooting a very efficient percentage, 54, 37 from 3. And it's really like he's been a plus in every game since he's came back. And his assisting has just been flashy. And, he's shown like he was a point guard at Oklahoma State and in high school. And, Boston in general, through the last 10, where's the points? 110 points, shooting 35% from 3, 47 from the field. Where it is 26 assists per game. They had over 30 as a team last game, and led by Tatum and Brown and led by Marcus Smart. And like I said to you, Rob Williams gets assists. The core 4 is really coming together.
Time Lord.
Yeah, the man. And like I said, well, first of all, I've been saying about him for about 2 years now, and since they've needed a center as it was, all it took was dedication from him, and he sees how much he can grow. I've said it to you a million times. He gets assists, steals, blocks, can move the ball in the half court. He's a good passer. So imagine how good he's going to be when he gets a mid-range jumper and gets more of a touch. And he's only 24. And yeah, the core 4, Josh Richardson, Grant Williams, the 2 Tennessee guys off the bench have a good connection. They contribit well.
Yeah, I'm going to cut you off real quick. I'm assuming the core 4 is going to be Smart. I don't know why I did that. Smart, Brown, Tatum, and Williams.
Yep.
Why did I do that?
And like I've said before, it's like, every year Marcus Smart's in trade rumors. And it's appropriate because he's making
compliment. It's a compliment.
Yeah, and we know how he could be for any other ball club and how special he would be, whether it's a starting point guard or whatever role it may be, off the ball combo guard, which he does well as well. But it's obviously he can't be paid like your third best guy, but it's if Brad constructs this roster well from now to February, from now to June, July, things could go in the right way. And it's I would be surprised with how he's been since he's come back, but it's as well as any other fan would genuinely cry if he left, because it's been 8 years. He's been my favorite since Rondo, besides Jaylen Brown. And it's just obviously the articles say it would take a significant haul or a lot of value for them to move him, and his chemistry and the way he helps the Jays grow, the way he helps Rob grow. His court vision is so underrated, and it's just they're not going to move him, and it would make sense because of his salary and it's a movable deal, but not now with the way he's been playing lately. And I fully expect him to remain a Celtic for the future. And as any Celtic fan says, whenever they win again, whether it's, a while from now or whenever, looking like it will be a while from now, it's it would mean the world to Celtic Nation and the city of Boston, who I've said to you, he's probably arguably the most loved Boston athlete, one of them today, especially with Tom and Gronk, Edelman. And it's just, he's Mr. Celtic, and it would mean the world to the city if he was on that championship team, whenever it comes. And, it's just, for once, they look good. Hopefully they can keep it up one game at a time. They got Detroit tonight, Orlando Sunday. Easy schedule. I know they got Brooklyn Tuesday. Hopefully they haven't beaten them in a while, so hopefully, with their dysfunction, we'll get into them later.
Yeah.
But hopefully they win one game at a time, continue to tack on. It's a bunch up between them, Toronto, Charlotte, and the play-in, and they're only a game behind Brooklyn, game and a half. at the 6th seed. They've dipped down there. So
Yeah.
hopefully Boston gains some ground, as me and you said before. If you're the 7 or the 6th seed, you could play Miami or Cleveland, which isn't that scary of a matchup compared to Milwaukee, Philadelphia, Brooklyn. But it's
If
like,
you yeah.
what were you going to
No,
say?
you can finish your thought because I'm gonna hit off what you were saying with the Nets.
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, like, Tatum. I mean, I don't know how Brown didn't make the All-Star team over Middleton, but maybe he gets in for Durant if it's not LaMelo Ball. But Tatum's 27, 8, and 5 in his last 10, 47 from the field. The percentages have been getting better. Still 31 from 3 over that span. Brown in his last 5, 26, 6, and 3, 51 from the field, 33 from 3. So they're becoming more playmakers, and the more they're sharing the ball. And I loved Udoka's rotations of late. Like I said, led by the 2 Tennessee guys, and it's clearly looking like Schroeder will be gone come next week. Al Horford, if he is, it would probably be the summer. But just be a team guy. That's what he's been doing, and that's what the core 4 has been doing in general. Move the ball, keep rotating on defense, and just when they share it, things change. And it
Yeah.
was a great one against Charlotte last game. Hopefully they keep it up.
Your point on Middleton, I was looking at my phone, I was looking it up real quick. I don't get how he's an all-star because you brought up Brown, and I'm not saying the guy I'm going to mention is an all-star because I don't think he's having, well, maybe. No, probably not. No, he's not an all-star. But Chris Middleton's averaging 19 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. Good numbers. Julius Randle is averaging 18 and a half, 9.9 rebounds, 5 assists. One guy's getting booed off the court, and one guy's an all-star.
Yeah, I mean, things could change if Middleton was in a market like New York, but they just because they wanted the title and just because of what he did in the postseason. And
Rob, thumbs down.
And like,
gotta get these thumbs up.
He's clearly shown. I'm a Middleton guy. He's clearly shown what he can do in the playoffs. I don't think the Bucks deserve 2 All-Stars, like you said, and Jared Allen was snubbed. One of the 2 Hornets.
LaMelo Ball. Yeah, I was gonna. Jeez.
But
yeah,
finishing the Celtics stuff. It's the best defense since Christmas. So hopefully they just keep it up. It's good.
The whole argument on and I agree with this argument. Like when people say all-stars that are snubbed, I guess we could go into the reserves now. But the all-stars that are snubbed, if you're gonna snub a guy and you think he's snubbed, find a guy that you can replace him then. Like, find a guy that didn't deserve it over him. And I think that's a fair argument because there's going to be snubs every year. There's good teams in the league that don't make the playoffs. Maybe not the NBA, but, like, in baseball, don't get me started on baseball. There's good teams that don't make the playoffs because of the way it's worked. Like, there's only a certain amount of spots. Like, Tyler Herro was a snub. 12 guys can't be snubs because that means you're replacing the entire team. Like, did this guy deserve it over Fred VanVleet, who, congratulations, undrafted? I think the first one's Ben Wallace. I think I read that in 2006. He's the first undrafted guy to make the All-Star team, and he deserves it. He's having a really good year. But is what's his name? Who were we just talking about?
Fred.
Not Fred. Does LaMelo deserve it over James Harden?
Oh, Middleton. What were you gonna say?
Yeah, in this case, there's guys that should have made it over Middleton, and that guy is probably going to make it because Durant's not going to play. And I would be surprised if Harden went just because he's had some hamstring issues. I think he has taken on such a mental and physical toll of just being on the Nets and dealing with everything. But to stay on the topic of the All-Stars right now. Congrats to Darius Garland. I'm a Cleveland Browns fan, so I see all the Cleveland Cavs social media excited for him. Well deserved. Harden got in. And just off the top of my head, I don't have the list in front of me. I'll put the list up for you guys to see it. Luka got in, deserved. Book, Paul, Cat, Gobert, I believe, got in. Mm-hmm. So I know Tatum got in.
Yeah, I got you. If you're unsure.
Yeah, I'm trying to. This is like a quiz now for me. Now I got to figure this out. Middleton got in. No Knicks got in. the two Charlotte guys, I was very surprised LaMelo Ball got in. Also for the fact that I know it's the coach's pick, but we want to see the most entertaining guys, and
Yeah.
he's entertaining. So I was surprised by that. Who?
Yeah. I said Brown's one of them too.
Brown. Yeah, he didn't get it. Who am I forgetting?
Zach LaVine, 7 reserves. So my insight on it is like, yeah, I think Harden deserves it just because, yeah, he's got the hamstring issues. Maybe he does say, all right, I'll take
he might just not go, but he deserves to be an all-star.
Yeah. The fact that he averages 8 rebounds is what amazes me. And, he deserves it.
LaVine, John Morant is a starter. There's 4 first-time all-stars.
Yeah, absolutely. LaVine deserved to be a starter, kind of like Garland. You could say he could have been a starter. LaVine.
I feel like him being in Cleveland hurts him.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been hard to imagine over the other guys, but LaVine, we said could have been one over Trey. And
Trey balled last night.
Yeah,
he's really playing well, Trey Young.
Yeah, and he's, as we said before, off the air, he's been leading his team. They've been winning more. The Suns haven't, not to change the subject, but the Suns haven't won in that building since 2000.
I saw that.
Something, 8 straight losses there or something like that.
That was wild to me. I'm trying to find it now. I can't find it. I'm trying to find just the reserves. I found last year's reserves, and Ben Simmons was one.
So the only snubs, or the main snubs of each conference, I'll tell you this.
Oh, Mitchell got in, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I forget, the guys that you just assume.
Yeah.
We
all go through that. We blank out for a sec on, who were the 7.
I was yeah.
7's a lot.
I was going to bed last night, and I'm like, is LeBron a starter? I feel like I just don't even look for his name anymore because he's going to be there. But then I'm like, oh, wait, he's a captain. Him and KD.
Yeah. Ooh. Of course. Oh, I think it's 6 straight years of being the leading vote getter or something like that.
Yeah, well, he's LeBron James.
Absolutely. We've talked about what he's done this year.
I don't think people realize, the year he's having, it's, ridiculous and just gets swept under the rug. It's – I saw, they had, a topic on – what's the show? I don't know what the show was. It was an NBA show on ESPN, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. LeBron's season is blank. And I saw underwhelming, and I saw unfulfilling. It's not his fault. He's averaging 30 points a game, and how old is he now? 37, 38?
7.
Yeah, it's not his fault, but to your point on the All-Star teams, yeah, Jaylen Brown, I don't know if he gets it over LaMelo. Because I'm assuming Durant isn't going to play, so there's going to be at least one.
Yeah, and I won't be surprised if they pick Ball instead, but the main snub.
I think Bridges has no shot just because of his name.
Neither does Hero, honestly. He's a 6th man.
Do you think him coming off the bench hurts him?
No, but I agree with other analysts when they say he's the most consistent Miami player throughout the entire season. And when we did the predictions 2 weeks ago, we said, all right, Jimmy could get beat, and Tyler told us.
Jimmy got in, right?
Yeah, he's going to get in. And I changed my mind about him. Obviously, he very much deserved it. I think he's 26, 22, 6-6, or 26-6. And
he's top of the league in steals too.
His numbers have been off the charts. When he did miss time, but when he's been on the floor, they really have been. And we know what he is defensively, you just gave the example. And yeah, he was definitely making it. So the biggest snubs, the top 3 or 4, LaMelo, Brown, Jared Allen, and then I would say Bridges over what's his name, Hero, and then in the West, if you would have picked Draymond's not going to play. We didn't say this, but they announced it. I put it on my story. I loved what Chuck said when he was my new BFF Draymond Green, and then he instantly. With the crew. I love that he's there now. Anybody who follows me knows how much I love Draymond Green, but I'm
gonna cut you off real quick because I just looked up the steals leaders. You know who has the most steals in the NBA? I'm gonna do my best impression of Boston. Marcus Smart. I don't know if that's good.
I think it's still him. I really think it's still him.
Yeah, like that's steals, like just total steals, but steals per game. I don't know like if Butler like is a leader because he might not qualify because of what do you call it? His games missed, but he's always up there.
Chris is up there.
But go on, I just really wanted to say that Boston accent.
Marcus. Yeah.
Marcus.
So, yeah, people don't understand what he brings to the table. Like, he can be a dud on offense at times, even though he hasn't been lately. But it's like people don't understand how much he changes the game and his intelligence. But back to the other intelligence, Draymond Green is arguably my favorite player, not a Celtic, and everything he does, and he so deserves to be in Turner Sports now. And he instantly, all the reporters said he won't be playing. So him and KD will get a
what
replacement.
about I'm in fact check myself again. Chris Paul leads the league in steals, but I saw his name next to Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart's like third or fourth. Is DeJounte Murray not a bust, a snub?
Yes, I was just about to say that. So I believe he gets in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it'll be Ingram. So I believe he gets in if Draymond not playing. If I was to snub anyone for Murray, it'd probably be Towns, and that's tough with how tremendous he has been all year. And like the West is just tough with the snubs. So we thought Murray was definitely making it. I've tweeted it a couple times, and like he definitely deserved it. And I don't know about over Towns, so they made the right decision. But I think Murray gets in for Draymond, and I think for Durant. So the West, Murray. The biggest snubs, Murray, Ingram. I don't want to say this, but if anyone, probably Davis. With how much time he's missed,
you think Davis is a snub?
I saw this account saying so. I think it's Ball's Life or Ball Don't Stop. Like
I think
he's not wrong, but like
I think if he's a snub, then Porzingis is one too, because they're both having good years and they kind of both missed a lot of time, but. Davis is known for being a better player, which he is. But, yeah, West is hard with snubs because, like, it's very top-heavy. Westbrook wasn't going to make it. Dame's out. McCollum's hurt. So, yeah, there's not really like, a clear snub because, like, I think DeJounte Murray would be that guy because I feel like how does Draymond get in when he's not even averaging over 10 in any category? Well, he's averaging like 9, 9, and 9 or something like that. Like 9, 9, and 8. I don't want to get it wrong.
Like, and he looks, as we've said, though, he looks like his old self. And he gets triple doubles, and it's just the impact he made.
His impact is less than stats.
That's why Wiggins. Well, first of all, when we did the predictions, we didn't think Wiggins would get voted in, and Wiggins. That's why
I was gonna say when you think snubs, you automatically go to the bench. Is Andrew Wiggins kind of like not as good as like DeJounte Murray? Like, I don't know how he got a starting spot over like Booker or Chris Paul even. But the thing, I think Booker more because Booker is more of like a swing guard than anything. He's not a point guard, or even like Luka or Mitchell. Like Luka's having a really good year, and the Dallas is playing well. They lost a tough one to OKC because Josh Giddey made a ridiculous pass. But I think it's crazy how like you can like think a guy deserves it over a starter. Like I don't know how like Wiggins isn't better than like I'm happy for him, but like he's been through hasn't been through a lot, but like he's had a rocky like career so far, like for being like a high pick, and you got guys like Towns, Luka, Mitchell, Booker, like they're all the four guys right there are better than him, and they're having better years than him too. But maybe it's the fact that the Warriors are really good, and he's kind of like even with Steph Curry, he's kind of been like the constant because Steph has a little bit of struggle. He's had a little bit of struggles.
Yeah, he looked like he was going to run away with MVP, and then he hit a bit of a wall, and like
it's probably Embiid now.
Yeah, Clay. Said it himself. It was like we know who the best two-way player is on the best team when they were the best team. And great year, but yeah, he's not an all-star. He's the worst player on the roster. If I think DeJounte gets in for Draymond.
I think DeJounte's better than Wiggins.
Yeah, he is. So DeJounte gets in for Draymond, and I'd say that Ball gets in for Durant. I want it to be Jaylen Brown, and I think he definitely deserves.
I think it's Brown.
It'd be cool, man. I mean, everyone is like, yeah, like Boston's record doesn't deserve it, even though they've been better. But like, dude, we were
It's
worse.
individual. It's
Yeah,
not.
and look at that. They're one of the best duos in the league, and look how young they
Yeah.
are. And it's like, I get it, the record matters, but it's like we were worse
I
last
don't
year. We both made it.
I don't take much consideration into it. I just think you can't suck. You can't be like 10-40 because that
Yeah,
means you're probably not having an all-star year because no team that is 10-40 has an all-star caliber player. Like I see like Cole Anthony's playing well and Wendell Carter are playing well, but there's a reason why they're not all-stars and there's a reason why the Magic have the record they have. I think they have 10 wins. I think they have 2 against the Knicks. I don't get that. That's like one of those like happens in baseball sometimes too. You have like a bad team that you just can't beat, and it's like when they lost to them the second time, I'm like, I don't know what it is with this team, but I mean, the Knicks beat up on the bad teams though. Like they beat up on Sacramento. I didn't. Sacramento looked lifeless without Fox, and then Halliburton looked. The word I use to describe Halliburton is excellent. Like he just looks like a very clean, fluid player. I am so afraid he's gonna like break his leg though because he looks so skinny. And I'm like, dude, you're so skinny. Like, how is like you're like, how does like not like a little like thing just snap like that? Like, I don't know. I don't wish that. I think he's really good, but
I told you he's better than Fox, and it's
I didn't say
continuously.
that. I didn't say that.
And if
I
he's
didn't
a
say
Nick,
that.
if he's a Nick soon, you definitely
Hey,
won't be saying it.
I saw. Well, I'll take both of them. I no, that's not gonna happen. I saw a like the mock trade, and I also saw Ian Begley wrote something. Very accomplished Knicks writer. If you're a Knicks fan, follow him. He's one of the few not like miserable sports fan writers. Like there are some
Yes.
sports writers that like hate their team. Like I don't get it. But he wrote about like the Knicks instead of trading Randall, try to get a true number one because RJ's not quite there yet. Although he's looked a lot better. Like I think what's encouraging about him is that when he scores 25 or 20, I think he had 23, and it was kind of like a down game for him just because he didn't do everything else well. And I think that's a good sign. But because when he plays well, it's dropping 30, shooting well from three. He's been struggling with a shot a little bit, but he's getting to the line. He's got to start hitting them. But Randall has quietly kind of figured it out. He hasn't been scoring a lot, but he's doing everything. He's rebounding, assisting, still turning the ball over a little bit too much. But I think if you can add like a Fox without getting rid of Randall, I don't know if you could do that, but that's a good move. And I think they really got to move on from Fournier. And I don't hate Fournier like everyone does. He's been playing really well. I trade him right now. I trade him right now because he's not going to play better than he is right now. Him, Burks, like just kind of not get rid of them. I don't want to sound rude about it, but like move on from these guys and let Grimes play. Let Toppin play. Quickly, I think has a shot to get moved because I think he's probably the most notable name out of the young guys. And Mitchell Robinson has become really good. And he's kind of quiet. Like he had 8 blocks against Memphis.
Yep.
And all I heard about was John Morant's points in the paint. You know what? Me and Mitchell Robinson at the rim. I saw on SportsCenter or on like TikTok's ESPN, like John Morant almost like look at the attempt he made on Mitchell Robinson. And they called a foul, but it was a clean block. You know, going to talk about the fact that Mitchell Robinson just sent him to the floor, but we're going to talk about how he attempted a dunk. Like, come on, be better. So I just think with the Knicks adding a guy, I saw like the mock trade I was telling you before we started recording was Barnes and Fox for Randall, Fournier, Walker, and a first. I don't want to give up Randall, but I would do that because what you do there is Barnes becomes your 3. And then you have Fox as a legitimate 1. RJ moves to your 2. Or even RJ is probably your 3rd pure scorer, I would say. Right now, at least, because Barnes is kind of more solidified. And then you have guys like Grimes that could step up top in. You would still have Burks at that sense. And then you go from there. But that I don't want to trade Randall. His effort hasn't been great, I'm not going to lie. And I never question guys' effort. I don't think it's every night with him. I just think there's sometimes he has lapses where he just doesn't get back on defense or just like moseys up the court. But like he did that last year too. No one gave him a problem though because he averaged 25 and 10. But that's just the player he is, and it's just I will never question a man's work ethic just because I hate when people do that because you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. But when you're not getting back on defense, you're not ripping through picks and stuff. Like it could aggravate a fan. I could see how you can. But just back to my original point with the Knicks is you got to kind of figure out what you are. They're not winning the championship this year. And if a Knicks fan thought that before the year, then you're delusional because no, it's not going to happen. But I think they are what I thought they were going to be, and they really need a point guard because I was looking the other night. Quickly wasn't playing that great. He was struggling with a shot. I'm like, oh, let's go to the next guy. Kemba Walker hasn't scored in 2 games, so it's like you can't really move on from anyone because you can't upgrade. Miles McBride is still super young and is like a 2-way guy. So he's not your answer right now, at least. So you gotta go big. You're in New York. Like you have Julius Randle is on a very friendly deal. RJ is I think RJ is set to get paid not big money, but I think next year. And I think Robinson's this summer and Barrett is next summer. But that's in the future. For now though, like let Grimes play. He is a very good defender. He looks like he's like running like a chicken without a head, though. It's kind of funny. Like he's everything is like 100% speed, but you like that. And I just think right now, like when they lost to the Grizzlies, I'm like, yeah, I expected that. I think they'll beat the Lakers. They kind of match up well against them because the Knicks can shoot a little better than them. I just don't know like what Knicks team's going to show up, but. I didn't even mean to talk about the Knicks today. I got RJ on right now. Mainly because I was out delivering food before this, and I don't know what happened, but I looked down and I had beans just all over me. I guess one of the bags leaked or something. I don't know, but so I got this on. I really gotta like trim this up. I'm sorry, I'm like kind of like having a self-grooming during this podcast.
Me too. Don't worry about it, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, to add to your point, if I'm a Knicks fan, I'm open for change. The goal now is the playoffs or the play-in.
Top 10, yeah.
That's what it is, top 9. And if you could do the swap with Fox, whether it's a multiplayer deal, you do it because Fox has more room to grow and you could argue he's a better fit for this roster, especially if they get Barnes, who I would love on the Celtics. He's only making like $18 million, couple years left per year.
Getting $20 million per year, exactly $20 million.
I think 18 when I checked last year when we were rumored to get him. But it's not bad. You could say that's not even bad because like he moves well with the ball now. He gets rebounds, he gets assists. He's a great team player. He hits clutch shots. He could play the 4. RJ plays the 3, and then. You got Evan still, regardless if anyone wants his money.
He was in the deal. He would be in that deal.
I'm just
but
saying,
you have
like
Burks and Grimes.
Yeah, I'm saying one of the two at the 2, hypothetically.
Okay.
But it's like it's tough. The reality is, it's tough to see anyone wanting Evan's money. Yeah, he's been better, but it's like he's just defenseless and. I would rather move Burks. Like we said, it's $10 million per. It's an easy deal to move. And Fox would be a good fit, perfect room to grow. Mitchell Robinson, like we said before we started recording, shooting 79, 80% now. Grimes is one of the few bright spots of the team. Like you said, he's just,
he's just everywhere.
Anxious, it looks like, but he's everywhere, and he chucks, he drills. And it's like you can't really be that disappointed because, like, teams got better. I've said this to you since day one. Teams got better. They could always surprise, and they always perform when you least expect it. They did it against Milwaukee last week. Evan had a game, but you can't live or die by the Evan Shuck. And I won't be surprised. Like if LeBron plays, I think they lose, but I won't be a surprise. I won't be surprised if it's a good game because on prime
Yeah.
time they seem to always put up a good fight with even the greatest of teams.
There
You
was
know,
that
they're
stat with Randall earlier this year, like during like Christmas time, they were talking about it, how like on TV, which meaning national TV, he plays better. And I don't know if that's like I hope that's a coincidence and not like he just gets up for certain games. Because it's not like baseball where you play every day, 162, and you can have like, they call them punt games. Like you sit your best players, getaway day, 1 o'clock game, and you won the series already, that type of thing. But in basketball, you play 82 games once every 2, 3 days. So it's not like you're like exhausted. And his minutes are kind of like a little bit lower than last year, but like it's not, you can't have punt games in the NBA.
he's still in his prime, and like they're more down because
Yeah, especially where the Knicks are at with the punt games. Like you
yeah,
can't have punt games where you're in the Knicks position.
it's like they have more options now that we thought would be better. And I don't know if you saw this, but like they're talking about it like yesterday on the Michael K show because it was a rumor because Bobby Marks brought it up on NBA Today, probably the show you were referring to before. But
Probably, yeah.
it was like Wayne. I don't remember the exact deal, but it was like a pick. It was like Wayne Ellington,
I saw
Westbrook
that. I saw that.
to the Knicks for like Randall, Evan Fournier, and like Kemba. I don't know if either team would want to do that, but like Westbrook is better by himself. We know that, but does it translate to wins? We don't know, especially when the East is a lot more stronger. But it's like I would shop Julius for like a De'Aaron Fox where it gives you more
Yeah.
room to go. They should take calls on him. It's just everything, like I've said with the Celtics before, everything is on the table. Everything. And
Yeah.
it's like they weren't supposed to be, the fans, like fans that aren't like you,
Bing
that
bong.
aren't that realistic. Yeah, they had a huge expectation that's like, second round, conference finals, higher than a 4 seed with this backcourt coming in.
Yeah.
Still an elite defensive team, but it's like
Yeah, they've kind of righted the ship defensively. Like they're like fourth in the league in defensive points allowed. I don't go by a defensive rating as much because like if you don't give up a lot of points, that means you're a good defensive team. Like
and it's like the rest of the East got better, dude. That's all it is, and
yeah, Cleveland, Charlotte.
it's just he was never a superstar. It's like he was the most improved player and a deservingly so all-star.
Thank you. Everyone last year talked about how he wasn't a number one option on like a championship team. He wasn't like the elite of the elite. Top 25, top 30 player, definitely. I'd say. That might be being a little like
last year, yeah. Last year he was. I think
but even this year he's still top 30. Like I'd take him over most power forwards. I'd take him over Sabonis. Like so
that's
like
debatable, but
well, Anyway, we all agreed all these fans wanted to say that he wasn't a number one option because you can't win a championship with him. So now all of a sudden you guys are just surprised. Like I said this with Westbrook, like we're all surprised he can't shoot threes. He never could.
Yeah. It's the exposure and it's the market and it's
and when you set expectations, they want you to exceed them.
Exactly.
Last year the Knicks overachieved. So this year they're kind of like where they were supposed to be last year, growing. RJ's growing. Randall is inconsistent, but he's not terrible. Like I've seen a lot worse. Mitchell Robinson's growing. Your draft picks are starting to hit well. Like Toppin's playing well. Grimes is playing well. So that is working. Cam Reddish can't sniff the floor, which I don't even get him in the game. That's a guy you could start if Burks or Fournier moved. Cam Reddish.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
Like I understand you don't want to take away minutes from guys that like are in your rotation, but at the same time, you basically just upgraded your 13th man because he's better than Kevin Knox.
Yeah, and
he's 22 years old.
look what he did against the Knicks in the playoffs. I mean, this isn't a knock, but sometimes people and fans, rightfully so, question Thibodeau's rotations and the way he does things. Like
He's all about
Kemba,
veterans.
yeah, Kemba's looking like he deserves it
He's
now. Like
he looks like
from
he
what
should be benched now.
Yeah, it looks like he deserves it now from what happened in the beginning of the year. But it's like Reddish, you got to let him gel in. You got to give him the opportunity. You got to
Yeah,
rely on him. It's
play
like
him. I'm not asking for 40 minutes. I'm asking for 15 to 20 minutes of game time. Like
we talk.
let him learn. Let him play. You aren't getting player by not playing. I'm sorry that I'm cutting you off a lot. I'm just so pissed that this guy can't get in the game.
Yeah, and it's like we talked about him going to Atlanta's front office and saying he wanted an opportunity, and this is a perfect opportunity for him and to grow, especially like if Fox came in, that young big three.
You had a Fox, Reddish, Barrett.
Yeah, that's fine. And
then Barnes. Because you wouldn't have Randall anymore in that case. I'm not saying Cam Reddish is better than Fox or like he may not be that good. He might be just an inefficient scorer his whole career, but you won't know if he doesn't play. And the Knicks are in a position where we're trying to make a push. To what? Win a game in the play-in tournament and then get mopped by Milwaukee? Like what are you truly playing for right now? Like you have this young talent, rather than being stuck in the middle with these veterans. Let these guys play. You'd get the same amount of wins with the young guys.
Yeah, and that's what they brought. They brought him here for a boost. They easily won the deal, and like this is a perfect place for him to grow with his old best friend, and he could hit threes too. We saw it in Atlanta against Philly, in Atlanta against New York, in the postseason, and he did it in Atlanta this year a little bit. And it's just this is not right. And Atlanta, like they were, decreasing his minutes, but it's like they still gave him like 20 or so, or a little less, and like around there, they gave him a good run, and he deserves to be playing. Yeah, we shouldn't be surprised if he is back in a solid spot in the rotation soon. But it's like, they're still getting Derrick Rose should be back one of these weeks too, because like
that's important.
Like 6 weeks. Yeah,
but he said he spoke to the media for the first time in a while. He said, I think right after the All-Star break, and I was talking to like people about it. Like you need more than one point guard. Like when I'm talking about like trading for Fox, it's like all right, we got this guy named Derrick Rose, who besides like this injury has been relatively healthy for like his state of his career and stuff, and he is the perfect backup point guard. Like he doesn't make many mistakes. I think I've said this before, like 2 months ago. Like he doesn't make many mistakes. He just very consistently solid.
We see it in the clutch.
Yeah, he kind of like I don't know how to explain it. He's kind of just like cool, just like it's not this, it's this.
Been here before,
if you're watching the video, you'll see me put my hand up and down like a fish, but it's just this, just no down, no up, just all day.
Yeah, and it's
he's not that anymore, but he don't have to be that.
Perfect backup to Fox that we didn't mention. It's the truth. Like he's a great sixth man.
Yeah. I saw a thing with like John Morant is the modern day Derrick Rose. I'm like, you can call him that. Do not discount how special Derrick Rose was. Like, don't. And I like John Morant, but I don't know if we're gonna see an athletic freak like that for a while. Like he just looked better than everyone. And that was in a league with like LeBron was like in his prime. He's still in his prime. LeBron, Wade, with Kobe, like all these guys, and he had the Bulls as the 1 seed, and you saw what they looked like when they didn't have him. Like I think Drew Holiday was like a rookie or like really young at that point with the Sixers. Him like Elton Brand beat the Bulls. Iggy, Fate of the Universe, Stallions.
You know who else they had?
Down. Who?
Vucevic.
Did he play?
Yeah, he just wasn't really, much back then. But
I swear if you typed his name into Google, something else would come up before his name. Just that's how underrated that guy is.
Evan Turner, my guy.
Yeah, he never really panned out. but he's still a solid player. He's active on Twitter. I see a lot sometimes. They just talking basketball. But
Yeah, he follows me.
moving on, he follows you.
Yeah,
Oh, weird.
he replies to my tweets and stuff when I give him shout outs. He told me he missed me once.
Missed you. I
I was like,
replied.
he's
I
like,
get
miss you too.
replies. I get replies from Dan Orlovsky all the time. He's really cool with like replying to his fans, and I don't like people say like oh he replies to everyone. It's still cool though. Like it's still like you're interacting, and Dallas Braden I had an interaction with. That was pretty cool.
I saw that. Yeah.
So like that, it's cool to just I actually interviewed a guy playing in the Super Bowl this weekend. Oh, next weekend, Mike Hoek. He's a D tackle. I think he's Donald's backup, which no shame in being Aaron Donald's backup. So that's pretty cool. He was cool to talk to. You could actually find that if you guys want. I'm going to do a plug, even though I don't work for them anymore. But Sports Library, just type in Mike Hoecht, Hoecht. It's a little free plug for you guys. Interesting interview. It was fun. I tried to ask him very different questions. I didn't want to be the mainstream. Like, how do you prepare for the season? What's it mentally like? No, like I want to ask this guy like what he does on the side. What's his favorite video game? That kind of thing. But talking about New York teams, we're gonna move on to a team that's probably in a worse spot than the Knicks, like as a grand scheme of things. The Brooklyn Nets. I saw a thing on TikTok today. I forgot the guy's name, and I'm sorry if I'm stealing whatever he said. He said, last year we saw the movie of what the Nets were. This year is the sequel. Sequel is never better than the original movie. I loved that quote. I'm so sorry I forgot who it was. I'm going to find it, and I'm going to tag it in the description. But it's just a mess. They just got killed by the Kings, and they had a double-digit lead. And I understand Durant's hurt. You can't do anything about that. But James Harden can't do everything, and he had 4 points the other night. He's a guy that can do that and still play well. But with the unknown of Kyrie, we don't know when that guy's playing. And if Durant's out for a while, you're the 6 seed. You're the 5 seed. I don't care if Kyrie could play 4 games. You're not beating Milwaukee. You're not beating Miami. You're not beating Chicago. Philly even. Like, if you're not at full strength for every game in the playoffs, like at this moment, you're not beating those teams. Can you beat Cleveland? Probably. But who knows? We've been saying that about Cleveland all year, and they just continue to prove us wrong. Also, if the Nets aren't careful, they end up in the play-in tournament. Say you're not home for that. All of a sudden, you don't have Kyrie. You lose one game, you're out. So I understand when they say we're not concerned, even though James Harden's been very upfront about it, and I respect him for that. Just no talk, all ball. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the East, for me at least, I don't see them beating any of those teams. Every time they play the Knicks, it's close, which that could be just New York. But like I said, Milwaukee, Miami. Miami's at full strength now, and we're going to see what they're made of because they were the 1 seed without Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler healthy. And I think they can make a move at the deadline. I think they can add a
Lowry just came back.
He's been out for a little bit.
Yeah.
They can add a little bit at the deadline, but PJ Tucker.
Oladipo.
I'm still waiting for that guy to come back. I like him, but he's just always injured. But it's just I don't know with Brooklyn. We talked about this with them and the Bulls. Who is the best team? Well, it's pretty clear now. Chicago's better. Chicago got hurt. Levine was out and he had COVID, and Caruso's out now, who was kind of a glue guy. He's the Marcus Smart of the Bulls. He just doesn't start. Lonzo's out. No one talks about Lonzo Ball being out and how important he was. And they keep winning. But the Nets can't figure it out. I don't understand, and I don't want to blame coaching because everyone wants to blame the coach. But at some point, you have to groom some of these young guys to have some sort of impact outside of Durant, Kyrie, Harden. The guy in the Bulls, what's his name? Ayo Dosunmu
or something like that. Yeah, he's balling. I mean, they're getting exposed on D without zone without AC.
Yeah, well,
But,
but that's gonna
still doing their
happen.
job. Yeah, they're
But
still doing their job and winning.
who is the Nets version of Ayo Desambu or Desan? I don't know how to say his name. Who is their
Yeah,
version of that?
and that's what the upsetting thing is, because that's what they made this roster for. Paul Millsap, Patty Mills has done his job. Aldridge been off the court a lot.
Claxton's been okay.
Right now. He's steady. Yeah, Claxton had a great game in Sacramento. They played the Jazz tonight. They really have to.
Jazz are another team that's falling apart, but that's not
Brooklyn,
really their fault. Like that's a lot of injuries. Like their starting lineup the other night was terrible.
Rudy is making his way back. He's still out, but Donovan's
Mitchell's back.
Yeah. So,
but Ingles hurts. Ingles.
That's sad.
Yeah,
I didn't even think
because that's why I saw Josh Richardson. Jason Richardson, he's been out of the league for a while. But Josh Richardson, him getting moved to the Jazz, that makes sense because he would kind of play the Joe Ingles role.
He plays great D and hits the threes. Yeah.
Maybe he's the playmaker that Joe Ingles is, but he's that like bench guy. So, but go on. What were you saying?
So, here's my thing with the Nets. It's all right. Fully healthy, we know they're the best team in the East. If the chemistry's there, it matters. It really does.
That's the biggest thing, though. If
you can't compare to Kyrie Irving, James Harden, and Kevin Durant, but it's like, look at the Celtics a few years ago. My answer to everyone talking about their struggles through the regular season when they were around the same seed as they are now was, hey, they were minutes away from the NBA Finals against the Warriors, and now they're getting Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward. But chemistry matters. And I was at the game last week against the Lakers. It was awesome because LeBron put on a show. It was AD's return. And it's like, Kessler Edwards, they have no defense. Kessler Edwards is their big defender as of late. Bruce Brown still does his job, but he doesn't put any points on the board.
So boring.
Yeah, and I feel like I'm missing someone, but it's,
Does Blake Griffin even play anymore?
He does. He had a good game against Phoenix, but he has to play too much. And it's like, so chemistry matters, and every analyst that's like, listen, I don't know if they don't win the NBA title, like
they're screwed.
It's on Durant. Stephen A. saying it's on Durant for leaving Steph and what he had for Kyrie. Good for him for having that picture in mind, but clearly it hasn't panned, and like. We saw the frustrations from Harden around that Laker game, and he talked about it after. He's like, yeah, I'm frustrated. COVID, injuries. We haven't had a consistent lineup. We've had a million different starting lineups.
Like everything he was told they were getting, it's the opposite. Emmanuel Acho said this point, like, James Harden's the example of like, hey, come hang out with us. And then it's not where we're not going to that place. We're going to this one. Oh, why is he here? Why is they there? Like, why are they there? Like, it's not what they made it out to be. They just made it. It's not a clown show, but it's a circus. Like everything but basketball happens with the Nets. And I'm not blaming Durant for his injury. You can't. Injuries happen. But everything else, meaning like the players, the depth, and like the lack of it, that is on the Nets. Like front office, coaching, whatever you want to blame.
He's been the one consistent piece all season, and he's not to be blamed.
And he'll get the most criticism now.
Yeah, and it's like it's just the chemistry, and James is saying this because he didn't realize what he was getting into, mainly with Kyrie Irving with the vaccine, and they talked about it on NBA Today. Yeah. Perk, RJ, as you know, the man on TikTok, the GOAT, he's the boy. But he's
at the Rams game.
Yeah, him, Shanae Okumake, Pierce, and Matt Barnes were there too, sitting by the end zone. I noticed.
Good game.
But the boys. But they so they're talking about it. Even Shanae said, I knew Kyrie has a McDonald's All-American. He's always beat at his own drum. Richard and Perk talked about their playing experience with him in Cleveland is like it's tough to be like, okay, let's sit down as a big three and talk about it because Kyrie does beat his own drum, and you can't change his mind when he has something and his own intentions set. So they're not going to get him to change his mind. So you don't blame Harden for having these frustrations and the rumors to Philly or the rumors of him potentially leaving because – yeah, he's not going to point anything out. And, like, nothing came from him, but it's like, obviously he's frustrated, rightfully so. And Perk had a point. Maybe he should point the finger at Kyrie and be like, I didn't know, like, what I was getting into. And clearly, like, he's not showing any top priority of winning a championship.
Yeah.
Although he is I don't like mean to criticize the guy. He is in some ways, but it's like he's not putting his team first. That's the best way to put it.
Like it's like a guy that like can't get vaccinated. Like a how do I say this? The company is like make you get vaccinated to work, or else you can't work. How come with Kyrie, there's exceptions? How come they're gonna pay for fines and stuff like that? And that's gonna become now. It went from a health thing to a money thing. So now all of a sudden you're not cheating, but you're going against what the whole idea of the COVID protocol was. And it's going to hurt the Nets because he's still not going to get vaccinated, so he's not going to play because they're not going to pay those fines, I don't think.
I watched his Instagram Live. I wrote about it for Hoops Habit. It's like, we only get one body. He's more than a basketball player. He already made his mind up. We get that. And he's one of the most brilliant, most down-to-earth, most special, genuine human beings in basketball, if not all sports. But it's like, dude, you guys came like this all started with him in Boston. It's like you came here for a reason. Now you're failing the team. He's failing the team right now. In the playoffs, it matters with chemistry when he's on and off the floor. And we don't know if they're going to have him for a full series. It's just too much uncertainty with the team. And I don't blame Harden for having these opinions. It's obviously towards him, but he's not going to call out his boy. And he didn't know what he was getting into. Like Perk has a point. I'd maybe say then I want out because of this. And we're failing to reach those goals. Dude, they were supposed to be the best team ever, or arguably, next to the Warriors, next to the Bulls. We've said this a million times.
I have a point I'm going to make when you're done with your take.
That's pretty much it. They're looking in trouble right now, and I get it, playoffs matter more to them, but it's you need to build some sort of character, some sort of chemistry. I get it, they're all good friends, but it's Kyrie, it's all on you, and it's about you being there and doing your job. And I don't think you've said maybe they could lose to those few teams if they didn't have it. I'd say maybe potentially Milwaukee or Philadelphia. Maybe the ball is fully healthy, but I don't see them losing very much. But it's dude, you're in danger of losing to at least one or two teams if you're not fully there. And even with Durant there, they still were inconsistent and losing games that they should have won.
We're waiting for them to be the Nets. If that means the Nets aren't historically great, but we're waiting for them to be that next dynasty. And the point I'm going to go on, the point I made before, how come you want to think of the NBA as your job? Well, the job is telling you to get vaccinated. It's the same thing as if you're working at Staples and they tell you to get vaccinated and you can't work if you don't get it. So when you boil it down to that sense, then that's why I think Harden's getting annoyed, because we all got the shot to be here to win the championship. You're putting yourself before the team. You shouldn't be here at all, because you being there halfway will help us on the court, but in the long run, it won't.
And he's just too confusing with this. I get it. We know you're more than a basketball player. You're a human.
Every human is more than their job and their profession. But every human is.
We said it a million times. We understand, but what the main goal is, and you can't just keep using the shot against the Warriors for almost cursed for leverage.
You can curse. I don't care.
Nah, yeah, we're good. But you can't just keep using that for leverage.
Yeah, and it's like he said, so he went to the fan like, "I won you guys a championship." All right, there's a guy named LeBron James that was there too, and like you still left them like sour. Like if staying on Cleveland, if Baker Mayfield wins a Super Bowl, which God willingly, if Baker Mayfield wins a Super Bowl and then leaves, like it's gonna like just like request a trade, or like even like Miles Garrett or someone on the Browns did that, like a core player, they're gonna be sour about it. And I know that happens more in the NBA than anything, but you can't hang your head on that. And the point I was gonna make, the take I was gonna have, you brought up the Warriors and the Bulls. What do those two teams have?
Defense.
And
Depth.
and
The
come on.
shot. What am I missing?
Did you just say the shot?
Third star?
What?
A consistent third star?
Chemistry.
Yes. The biggest.
Steph, Clay, Draymond. Chemistry. Iggy. I think Harrison Barnes is on one of those teams. More recently, you got Kevin Looney, Jordan Poole. Those Bulls teams: Rodman, Kerr, Jordan, Pippen, Horace Grant. See, I said Kerr. Yeah, like I'm not saying you got to draft your whole team, but you got to be there. Like as much as Dennis Rodman partied and stuff, and he took his little break, he was still there when he was needed.
And think about it this way too. Someone wrote a story. Ah, man, it was a big analyst. Forget who, or no, I saw it in the sports writing class. It was someone who writes. They like brought the big picture into it. The Nets got rid of, like, they were having a beautiful culture beginning. Jared Allen, D'Angelo Russell, Spencer Dinwiddie, those pieces, Karis LeVert. I feel like I might be missing someone, but those pieces they had to start a culture, and they sold their starting lineup and special thing that they were starting for Kyrie Irving. Kevin Durant's performed, but and we know Kyrie Irving's performed. He's averaging 27 a game in a net uniform. The rebounds and assists are there too. He's shooting 50%, almost 40 from three. But it's, dude, consistency is key. That's the biggest thing. The biggest thing. And they just, got rid of the culture that they were starting for this. And it just has not panned. And postseason matters. Definitely does. It matters the most. But we need consistency, like you said. I don't know why I couldn't think of that as the number one out of what we were naming, but they need it. It's the truth.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to make of them. If you had to pick a team to come out of the East right now, who would you pick?
Come out of the East. Picking the Bucks, I guess.
A little repeat action?
Have to. They have the chemistry. Giannis was an MVP. Middleton's an all-star again.
Okay.
Bobby Portis has performed. Mike Budenholzer is a great coach. They have defense. Cleveland has made a surge. I guess Miami might be a second choice with, this loaded, kind of like Phoenix. Their depth chart is beautiful from top to bottom. They have everything. They're a perfect, complete team. But it's like the Bucks. It's really looking like the Bucks again at the moment. But my pick to win it all is the Suns. We could put a plug in for that too. I just wrote a masterful Chris Paul story after I wrote the Embiid one the other day. But
yeah,
I could see Suns Heat. That's two cool names. But
there you
that
go.
meet each other.
Two hot names.
Maybe the Bucks. It should be an exciting deadline that's coming Thursday. Should definitely be exciting. 6 days away. We just, and to transition, we saw a nice trade a couple hours ago. The Norman Powell and Robert Covington to Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And to get my point there, it's just like, what does that mean? First of all, we know Portland is in need of cleaning house, definitely. They really are. We talked about this yesterday, how New Orleans is looking at, like, McCollum as a guard to complement Zion whenever he comes back, or Ingram, which is a perfect guard. Eric Gordon, I'm pretty sure he was a Pelican before. He is another candidate, along with De'Aaron Fox. But, the Dame rumors are swirling again. I saw he wants a big extension if they keep him during this offseason. And but he said if he was to be dealt, he'd like it to be to another team in the West. It's highly unlikely he gets dealt.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing is they signed Norm to a multi-year contract, and they killed salary doing this. It's a joke. They look like it's a disaster a bit because they swapped Gary Trent Jr., who is so on fire right now, for Norman Powell. And really, it turned out to be Gary Trent Jr. for Eric Bledsoe and a second-round pick. And that is a disaster. So, also, they got rid of Norm's salary, and they're looking to clean house, like I just said. And Anthony Simons, who's been probably a main bright spot for them this year besides Lillard, especially with the whole lung thing McCollum went through. And Norm was having a great year, 18 a game. But Simons, they can have the money to re-sign him as a combo guard, whether it be next to Dame, next to McCollum, who knows? They can go about this, cleaning of the locker room many different ways, but it's it's so uncertain. But that was a beautiful trade for the Clippers because Ty Lue did say last night it's very unlikely Kawhi comes back this year. Still no one knows about Paul George.
Oh, really?
But
that's news
Steve
to me.
Ballmer never settles.
That was news to me.
Yeah, highly unlikely. And rightfully so, because Steve Ballmer, even if he does or doesn't, Steve Ballmer never settles. Ty Lue continues to do an excellent job. And this just shows that they're going to be a great – yes, I was a big hater of his in Cleveland. But he continues – or this just shows for the Los Angeles Clippers that next year they're going to be a big favorite, rightfully so. Zubac they still have as their guy for the main size.
He looks exactly like Zach Ertz.
And then they're going to have – he does. Then they're going to have – so the two wings, then they're going to have Covington's elite defense and three-point shooting, and Norman Powell, who's a terrific guard, who's on fire this week, like 21 a game. Great guard to complement those guys. And they can still make more moves. Like they're going to be a solid favorite for next year, and I'm happy for them. That was a good trade for them.
I think
get rid of Bledsoe as well.
Yeah. I think with Portland, it's just kind of like they're like trying to tell Dame that they're rebuilding instead of like him coming out and saying it. They're trying. I think they want to trade him. And it's like, even if Dame doesn't want out, if you want to trade him, just trade him. Like, I don't know why it's like such a – it's not like Dame wants out and the Portland won't trade him. Like, Portland has the power over Dame, like, not financially, but well, they do financially, but Portland has the right to trade Dame. I don't think he has a no-trade clause. So it's like, I don't know. Just Portland, they're just kind of going downhill. McCollum, I think, won't be on Portland by next week. I really thought he was going to the Clippers because that made a lot of sense, but he'll be somewhere. Nurkic will be somewhere. They're just going to tear it down. But moving on now, just the
Nurkic is also available too, and it's just they're not even going to be in the playoffs. And that was a good start to the trade week. There was a lot of people saying, let it all begin. And there's analysts that think Portland might have missed their window with selling. So, this had to happen. Had to. But go on.
Just moving on. We're running a little low on time. We're going to talk about the lockout, but I'm sure I'll have more information next week on it. All I could say right now is that there's the MLBPA rejected the federal mediator, and the owners don't want to make a counter offer. So you know what, owners, get it right. It's bargaining. You bargain together. The players are doing what they can from what we know, and get it together. But just the last thing we want to say, we don't really talk about football that much on this podcast, but Boston's own, well, not really. I don't think he's from Boston, but Boston's easily greatest athlete of all time, and that's including guys like Bill Russell. But let's give a clap of the hands. Tom Brady hanging it up after 22 years. I don't really know what he's just. It's gonna feel weird. I enjoy Tom Brady. I don't hate him. I'm a big fan of rooting for success, and damn, it's gonna feel really weird. He's not gonna be in the league for the first time in my football life, watching it, and I'm getting chills talking about it. This guy's bigger than life, and he'll be successful in whatever he does. Just his mentality, but just want to say congrats to Tom Brady if he's watching this, which I don't think he is, but that'd be cool. Tom, if you want to come on, I know you got more time now, so. But just congrats to Tom Brady.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's all I really. What's up?
I was just gonna say, absolutely. It was a privilege watching him growing up through high school, through middle school, through all of it. A lot of people thought, is he really gonna go out on that loss? Hard to believe. It was funny when that happened Saturday. I think it was Saturday, not Friday. But yeah, whenever almost a week ago.
Yeah.
Whenever made the announcement, I was watching Ozark, and then I saw it on Bleacher Report, and I was like, wow. And then the report came out that his dad said he never made a decision, and the Bucs front office said the same. But it's like we just said, it was hard to believe, but we kind of thought, as well as the rest of the sports world and internet, is was he playing games with us? We've seen him do this before.
I just
and there
but
was
he's never done that before, really. Brady's never really he didn't say he was going to leave to New England until he left. So
yeah, and it's funny because everyone was expecting the video of him and Gronk, the we ain't going nowhere.
Yeah, and the video of him on the plane going like this, that weird cringy face they make. It's like oh my god, dude, we'll give it up. You're 44.
Special.
What?
Yeah, and it's truly special. And there was rumors that, he would get paid a certain amount if he quit a certain day. Not that it matters for him, obviously.
Yeah, he's got money.
Yeah, so long. We still see it all over the sports networks, how people just can't believe it, really. Boston will always love him, same as Tampa. Obviously, the Patriot fans weren't that happy with his goodbyes to them. Dave Portnoy going in about it, but it's
he signed a one-day contract in New England, and if he doesn't talk about them in his Hall of Fame speech, okay, now we got problems. But I don't make much of the story. Colin Cowherd talked about it. It's not a story. It's a goodbye speech. It's about him, no one else.
Yeah, and it's just he's every dude growing up in sports like me and you. He's everyone's role model, and kind of
you just think Tom Brady,
not just Yeah, and not just – it's arguably the best sports icon ever in the world. And it's it's not just what he did on the field and what his competitiveness. It's, how he drove himself, how to be his best self, and
TB12,
the human being he is, the icon, the father he is, all of it. And it's just salute to him, man. And it's I just to squeeze this in, I was seeing on Max Kellerman's show this just in, they were saying maybe Winston goes back to the Bucs. Obviously, who knows what the Bucs will be next year.
I'm gonna pick
Washington
up
Commanders. Many people are.
I'm gonna pick up my mic for this announcement.
Many people.
What? No, go on.
I was just gonna say, Matt. I was waiting for you, but I was gonna say many people are thinking Jimmy G could go to the Commanders. But what's your announcement?
Oh, you said Washington. All right. I have an announcement. I got my mic. Look at this thing. It's a whole stand. Yeti, thank you. Jimmy Garoppolo will be the Buccaneers quarterback next year. this is not like an official thing. Like this is my prediction. So yeah, we'll see him in Tampa. Okay. That'll be all for this week. Do you want to have any plugs, Rob, besides the article?
Just the two articles, just the Embiid one, and I just wrote a crazy Chris Paul one, like I said, so that everyone should enjoy that. I've just been grinding with the writing and with this, and it felt good to be back. And yeah, no, a great pod, man.
Yep. Just follow us on Instagram at Sports Bible Pod, YouTube, just type in Sports Bible Podcast, it'll come up. Make sure you space it out, because if you don't, it comes up some Spanish video. I don't know. Follow me on TikTok at Richie Doris. I'm going to look to make shorts for this podcast and put it on a separate TikTok, but that's in the future. Find us on Twitter, Sports Bible Pod. Just find us everywhere. Follow me on Instagram at RD Sports Blogs. And follow my YouTube channel, Richie Doris. I have a fun video. I'm reacting to the top 100 baseball players that ESPN put out this weekend. That should come out a little bit after this podcast comes out. But besides that, that's all I got. And see you guys later.
See you guys.
Thumbs down for the Knicks.